Hello. Okay, here we are. Another live broadcast from downtown Boca Raton with this incredibly sensitive microphone from the oldies and the goodies. Oh, the Super 55. There it is. It's just a level right there, so we kind of like get it out of the way of everything. Of course, it's in the way of the video. Well, that's okay. There we go. I don't have to talk exactly into it because this thing will pick up everything. Every single thing. Okay. So the important thing for today, if I can show, there we go. Look at this. The Tesla is keeping track. If you want to, it's you don't have to. But see, I got a score of 100 today, and almost it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hundreds, and 1, 2, 3, and 3 of them better than 95. Okay, so that's important. Tesla is going to be giving out the full service driving beta at the rate of 1,000 units a day, starting with people that have scores of 100. I don't have a score of 100. I have a score of like 99.9. So they get through all the hundreds. I don't know how you can drive and have 100, but anyway, they're going to do that. It's rare. Maybe it's the last 7 drives. I've got like 500s in a row. 2 more, and I've had 700s in a row. So if they're going to take the last 7 drives, see now here's my, here's the version number, 213222. If you don't have that version number, you can't get the thing in your phone that allows you to, I'll show you on this. Let's just shrink this down. Here's the Tesla app, if you can see it. And right underneath upgrades, is a button called Safety Scores. There we go, see it? Safety Scores. I'm going to touch on it. And here's my, they call me a 99 with all the, these 5 parameters. Forward collision warnings, hard braking. I'm subject to hard braking occasionally. They have a little graph. Really hard braking, and then this line across here is the average for the fleet. All right, so anyway, I'll go back to clock mode on that. I'll put my clock over here. It's 11:30. It's 11:26. All right, so a lot of anyway. So there's my daily. You can see how high. They don't quite touch 100 every single day. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 4. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 4 out of 11 trips. I didn't have 100. I had 99 or 98 or something like that. Anyway, so I'm not sweating it. I'm just explaining it to you. And so in the next weeks or months, I should end up with a button and some kind of an email that says, you're about ready to get the full service driving beta, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that'll be it. So I'm trying to position this microphone so it doesn't get the this app called eCam Live is the system that I have that works on my iPad Pro, which is the most recent, the latest version with the most complex processor, but not an M1 processor. And I got two outlets on this side, 2 outlets on this side, and the phone jack. The M model only has 2 outlets here. That's it. So you have to, deal with that. So anyway, oh, there's a nice picture of us on the balcony last night. All right, let's shrink this down. I want to show you this one. This is like you. Oh, look at this. That's a nice one, huh? Look how pretty that is. Yeah, we get a lot of beautiful shots from the balcony. Oh my God, full service driving is here. I took that because I'm going to write a story. And I'm looking. Oh, here it is. This is so funny. If you can read that, it says, for all those people who wore a mask while alone in the car, the new outdoor seat belt is now available. So you can walk around the park outside of your car and have a full seat belt. That's about as stupid as the mask. I mean, the mask is a joke. It is the biggest hoax, other than the Moscow hoax on Trump. The second biggest hoax is the mask that's worn for people all over the world. I mean, there have been a lot of competent medical doctor researchers that have done full-scale tests on the value of the mask. Oops, here's my vaccination record card. I don't know if you people have those yet. And, of course, I have one from Maryland, so I have to put these in a place where I can find it. I took it out of my FAU hang tag thingies, these things, because I should probably put it back in. I think I will put it back in there, because that's a place I know where they'll be, and there's straps and things hanging around your neck. So if we go to one event and we got to show our vaccination card, which, eventually that's going to happen, because people are getting so paranoid with this virus. And in my opinion, it's kind of like, since it's a killer if you're over 50. You catch this thing and you're over 50 and you get on a ventilator, the rest of the family might as well start fixing up their affairs because that person's going to be a dead duck. So, you just get vaccinated. It should be required like a polio shot. Remember, we had polio shots, and you have to have your proper vaccination records in order to get into first grade or kindergarten or those things. I remember Marilyn running around like a crazy person trying to make sure that Brennan and Daniel had all their vaccinations up to speed. Well, that's the way it should be. Well, what's this? Screw freedom. get the shot. It's a matter of national security. And, but these liberals, I don't, I mean, slap them in the face and say, get the vaccination or, give me your passport. You're out of here. I don't know, but they try to force everything else on you in the government. Why aren't they doing what is the medically smart thing to do, which is get vaccinated? Now they're talking about a booster. Screw the booster. You got vaccinated, you created your antibodies, and, until I see medical evidence that a booster is helpful, I don't know what other word to use, helpful. Right now, there's no medical evidence at all that a booster does anything other than give Moderna and Pfizer more revenue, because even though it's free to you, it's probably a $100 injection, and they give 10 of it to the pharmacy or whoever, maybe 20 of it for doing the injection, and $80 goes to the government, reimbursing them for the manufacture of the goods. With Operation Warp Speed, remember that? Trump did that, not Biden, Trump. So, Biden's trying to suck up all the credit, but the truth is Operation Warp Speed produced that vaccination. And Trump looked at all the medical evidence. He listened to all the, the smart people and said, you know what? Let's take $1 billion out of the Treasury and buy 600 million, 6 or 800 million injections, which he did. I mean, he literally prepaid for, let's just say, 600 million, injections. He rolled the dice that this would work. He didn't know it would work, but the pharmaceutical company said, you know what, it's going to work, because we actually took the DNA out of the virus and stuck it in, the vaccination. Now, it's a incredible process of how that's done. It's all very high tech. It's genetic engineering, and Trump said, all right, I'll roll the dice. We have to, because if I wait for you guys to just, crank it out and then we test it and then go back and forth, it'll be 2.5 years, and then we'll have the injection, and we'll have another, 200 million dead, or 200,000 people dead. We got enough dead. So he rolled the dice 1.5 years ago and prepaid for the injections, not knowing it would work. And of course it does work. And I think there's 100 million doses that are in the arm now. So anyway, that's okay. So let's do this. We'll go here. We'll go here. I want to show you something on the screen. I'm looking at it right now. Apple Watch pre-orders will start October 8th. That means they start at 8 a.m. on October 8th. So that's 8/8. And I'm going to go online and see. I think I'm upgrade ready for the watch I have. This is number 6. So number 7 has a few more goodies. It's a little faster. Battery's a little bit better. It's the same frickin' size. The screen goes all the way to the edge. I thought it already did that, but it's really a marvelous instrument. Here's a graph. If I can. It's hard to twist your arm around. Let's see if I can take it off and unlock it. Yeah, let's do that. And then if I hold it up, you see that right there? That's a cumulative graph of the high-low by day. And you see the red line in the middle, the median line? That's my blood oxygen levels. So all day long, it's checking my blood oxygen. You know, now that blood oxygen, if you've ever been in a hospital, I've only been once. It's a pretty big deal. It was quadruple bypass surgery. I got the scar to prove it. You know, they cut you open with oh my God, a goddamn jigsaw. You know, medical jigsaw, and they do a thing, and yeah, oh my God. And then they screw around with the heart. They replace, you know, blocked arteries with pieces that actually come out of your chest. They used to take the pieces out of your leg, you know, strips of arteries. But now they actually use some arteries that are in the mammary glands up here in the chest, and they use those to replace the arteries. And they supposedly last for 35 years instead of the regular 17 years. So 35 years, I'm already 103. Oh my God. This going to be an old sucker when these things wear out. And yeah, they wear out, and then you got to get a you know, a bunch of retreads. The last thing I want to do is no. That is actually the hospital did a great job. I wasn't in any, you know, I took Percocets every 4 hours for a while. I was in the hospital for like 11 days, 12 days, which is a little longer than normal, but my cardiologist and the head of the cardiology surgery department had a severe disagreement. And my cardiologist says, Jimmy, if you go the way he wants, you better do your family planning because you're not going to survive the operation. Okay, what's plan B? He says, well, I have a plan B. I said, I'm happy that you have a plan B. What is that? He says, I'm going up to Delray Medical Center. No, I've got, you know, a world-class cardiologist that's my cardiologist. He's the guy that doctors go to when they have problems like this. So I figured, hey, if it's good for the doctors, he must be pretty good because the doctors, you know, have ways of investigating themselves. Anyway, so Jose Ordonez, O-R-D-O-N-E-Z, cardiologist Ordonez, had a riff with the head of cardiology at the Boca Medical Center and said, Jimmy, we're not going to do what he wants to do because you won't survive it. I said, why the hell would this guy do an operation and you're not going to survive? He says, well, you have a slim chance of surviving. I said, I'm with you. I don't like slim chance. I want really good chance. This is silly or what, but oh, lordy, lordy. So anyway, he says, I'm going to go to the Delray Medical Center. And I've got a doctor up there. His name is Brian Bethea. Bethea. Brian Bethea. He's up in West Palm now. But he was in the Delray Medical Center. And he is a world-class surgeon that'll do, you know, he does complicated, you know, things. He'll take that, you know, doctors they want a simple way. They want to get their numbers up, you know, like I did 1,000 operations and everyone survived. I mean, that's what they want. Every once in a while someone dies, but they don't want dies. They want everyone to survive because it louses up their record in a big way when your patient, you know, doesn't survive. No one's happy with that, particularly the patient. Anyways, he said, I'm going to Brian Bethea's office in Delray. You know, he's telling me this on a Friday. He says, I'm going up tomorrow, Saturday. I had in my pocket here, I have several copies of the discs with all the photographs on it, all the videos. When I went in there and did the angiograms and all that stuff, well, I took a lot of stills and I took a lot of videos. Your heart is beating and the arteries aren't, you know, working right. And that's how I formulated what needs to be done. I've done 4,000 or 5,000 of them, and I advise the doctors all the time. And usually the doctors follow my instructions because I'm the investigator. I investigate all the arteries around your heart and determine which one's got to go, replace. He said, I'm going to sit outside Brian Bethay's office, until I get to see him. He's in surgery Saturday morning, and so I need to go up there and just camp out in his lobby. So when he gets out of surgery, he's going to see Dr. Ordonez with his magical pocket full of CD-ROMs. So that's what he does. That's what he did. He met up there with Brian Bethay, and then he came back, I'm going to say 2 or 3, 4 in the afternoon, came into where I am in an intensive care thingy, and he says, Jimmy, we got a plan, and we have a surgeon, and we're going to transport you. This is a Friday, Saturday. He says, tomorrow, you are going to be transported to the Delray Medical Center in an ambulance. They'll Velcro you down, and they'll ride you up, and they have a room all ready for you, but it's not quite ready, so they can't transport you unless I got a room to put you in. So we're going to have to just cool your heels on Sunday until we get word that a room is got your name on it, and then we ride you up there. It's a 9-mile ride. Shouldn't take more than 30 minutes. And anyway, so now I'm in the hospital. I'm in this van, right? It's like a converted, God knows what. I mean, it says ambulance on it and all that. And it's got inside, rows of stuff and oxygen tanks and a lot of Velcro. Well, now I understand why they have a lot of Velcro, because it's like Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. I'm laying down there. And if I didn't, I had to tighten up the straps. I mean, I'd been on the floor, I swear to God. And the guy can hear me, and I say, hey, how about slowing down a little bit? It's a little bumpy back here. And he did. I mean, it's like, oh, Jesus. One thing you don't want to do is get in a car wreck in an ambulance when you're Velcroed in on a gurney, whatever the hell they call the thing they wheel you out on. Anyway, so I got up there, I had my surgery, and everything is marvelous, but that's the only time I've been in a hospital. So, now my favorite project is, if you can see on the screen there, let me see if I can Command 9 it. There we go. See, now you got a full screen on what I'm looking at, so it's easier to see. You see that? Apple Watch Series 7 pre-order stock October 8th. Start October 8th. So I'm going to go onto the AT&T. I'm a loyal AT&T client. And, you can buy upgrades, and they provide, installment credit. They just take the amount of the device divided by 36, and that's your monthly payment. No interest is charged. How do you not do that? Why pay, $500 or $600 for a device? They divide it by 36, and you pay once, a month. No interest charge, no service charge whatsoever. So that's what I do every time I upgrade an iPad or an Apple Watch, which we just did. These are I can't say. I just upgraded Marilyn's and my iPhone 12 Max to iPhone 13 Pro Max. I don't know if I got the Pro and the Max in the right order, but it's the biggest phone, and it's got the best technology. And we always do that, and the phones are working fine. I got Marilyn's set up. I got mine set up. The problem is, getting them unpaired and paired with your watch. You have to actually go in the watch and unpair it from the little, the thing that's set up. Well, they have one. They had, so I'm looking at my watch right here, and you scroll through. I have it so it's the scroll method instead of, all these little dits. So we go all the way to the end where it says service or something. Set up. Anyway, so there it is, settings. So you touch settings, and then it says, okay, Jim Wilson, notifications, general focus, airplane mode. What do you want to do? How about brightness and display? All right, I got it super bright. I got bold text, always on. Yep. All right, so that's it. Anyway, so you got to go to settings in the watch, and then disconnect you want to unpair your phone, and then you repair it with the new phone, and you pull all this stuff from the a backup. These things back up every night. Anyway, so that's cool where it should be. So I took care of that. I sent in the iPhones. Let's see, where's I don't want to keep this in here anymore. So I got my receipts. There they are. You want to keep these. This is the scanning. They scan both boxes. And I have the U.S. Postal proof that I put it in their hands. Once they got it, it's out of my control. So there's one, and written on it says 1100, and then here's another one, 8114. That's Maryland's last four digits of her phone number, and this last four digits of my phone number. So now I'm going to attach these to the papers down there. Right now, just put it down there. I'll fix that up after a while, but not right now. So now I've done everything I need to do to get those phones back, because they give you, it's an automatic trade. You pay $5 extra a month. It's called the Next plan, N-E-X-T. And every year when Apple comes up with a new phone, they take your old phone and we get the new phone. The installments go away. The unpaid balance goes away because you're giving them back the phone. The phones are in like sterling condition because we have them wrapped up in things, what do you call it? Silicone case, which is marvelous. And I've dropped the phone 4 or 5 times over a year. And, it takes a licking and keeps on ticking. And it never gets to the watch, or the phone. So that's good. Anyhow, Apple Watch 7 upgrade. How to do it? Well, I know how to do it. I go into my AT&T page, which I can, there it is right there, AT&T. See, it looks at my face and it says, hey, that's JimmY. All right, we log in. There we go. And so then you have to find where you do your upgrading. There's usually a panel here. Now, when the 8th comes, AT&T knows that people are going to want to upgrade their watches. So, see, here's shop now for, you can't see because I don't have that section of the, what do you call it, turned on. Anyway, so I'm going to do, that's Friday. So I'm going to deal with a new watch on Friday, perhaps. I got all kinds of bands. So, and this is the, the good stainless steel one. I don't like the aluminum ones. So, it costs $150 more, a few dollars more. So this is keeping my watch. This is keeping track of my pulse. Doesn't do blood pressure yet, but that's going to be next. That'll be super cool. You can be on your watch, and it can tell your blood pressure from something on your wrist. Now that's something that hospitals need to adopt. Instead of these cups, and it pumps up every 10 minutes and gives a reading, and then sends a reading to the screeny thingy. you know, the doctors look at when, or the nurses when they walk in, they can see all your results. Well, if it's something as simple as putting something on your wrist, that is something that doctors need to have. Okay, so look at this. We got a couple of disturbances. Let me do it. Let's close this sucker up. All right, hurricane. Let's do hurricane. So we're going to look at what's going on. So there's a disturbance with that number 1, and there's a disturbance where that X is. And that X is pretty close. So I'd like to see, so there's X, and it shows it going, you know, up to Nantucket. But I always like to look, let's see, how can we, oh, well, let's just look at Victor. And then we can see, you know, that's way out there. You see, that does, it's getting a rotation. That's way out. I was hoping to see something. All right, there's no disturbances out there that's going to get in our way, at least in the next 2 weeks, because it takes a week for it to form off the African coast. When it comes off the Antilles and it's out there in the middle of the Atlantic, then it kind of like starts to circulate and organize, and then a track can be formulated as to whether it's going to hit southeast Florida and it's going to go underneath, you know, and get in the Mediterranean, or it's going to make a hard right turn when it gets past the, you know, the U.S. coast. So let's just take a look at what's going on. Oops, let's try face again. There we go. See what's going on with the stock market. And right now the market is up 416 points. And Apple's up 1.5. It's at 141. 27 times earnings. Amazon is 3,200 at 55 times earnings, which is like crazy, too many multiple. Bank of America, it's $44 a share. It's 14 times earnings. The dividend rate is 1.9%. That's a good number for a bank stock. IBM is paying 4.5% dividend. AT&T is a big payer. Whoops, there it is. CT down there. It's $27 a share. 7.6% yield. Now that is a whole lot bigger than you can get in any bank. And TD Bank is at 3.7%. That's a huge dividend for a bank. So if you want to, you know, get some income producing shares, you buy IBM, and you buy telephone, AT&T, TD Bank. That's the bottom of that. And Bank of America is at 2%. That ain't bad. And you buy a few Apple shares for appreciation. That yield. What is... Sorry for the wind noise. I'm looking at this list. There it is. Tesla. It's $780, and it doesn't pay a dividend. So, you know, you just hope it goes up. And, you know, you can look at a graph. There's a graph of it. Let's look at it over the last 6 months. Look at that. Look at this over the last 6 months. That's crazy. That's like whoosh, from June to October. It's gone from $570 a share to $800 a share. That's not bad. Anyway, this year's sales in Tesla are 70% greater than last year's quarterly results. Now, if Elon Musk stands in front of an audience of all these investment bankers and says, we're going to produce 60%. We're going to produce 50. We're going to have 50% more deliveries next quarter that ends, 9:30 than we're doing now. I mean, they're going to be throwing pies at him in the audience. Guess what he did? He did 70% more sales than last year, same period. It's like unheard of that this company keeps, they're perfecting the manufacturing. Their theory is, let's perfect this big machine that makes the cars. So we have a machine that makes machines. We have this huge machine, it's called a factory, and it manufactures Tesla cars. 4 or 5 different models now. And that's what they're refining. They're refining the internals of this big, huge machine. And every time they build a new plant, they fine-tune the robotics. And there's a lot of unbelievable robotics. All kinds of stuff flying around. I mean, have you ever seen the video? I've never been to a Tesla factory, on a tour, but I sure would like to. But they're building, a big one in Austin, Texas, and they just finished one in Berlin, Germany. So they keep making these factories that can deliver, 5,000, 4,000 cars a day, whatever. Big, huge numbers, Jeez. Just think of all the tires. If you're going to deliver 250,000 cars in a quarter. So 3 times 8. So that's like 80, 90, 100,000 cars a month. That's 400,000 tires. Just look at the tire. Tires are a big, heavy, pain in the ass part. And you need 400,000 wheels to put on the 100,000 cars. Just the supply chain for the frickin' tires. And they have, they're going to have 800,000 seats. And the robotics, it wiggles the seat in there, and oh my God, the electronics and the computers. It's just mind-boggling with the granular detail that is required, and to make a modern factory. And Elon Musk, because of his insistence of perfection, he says, forget the way they always used to do it. I don't care how they always used to do it. We're going to do it this way. And if we're going to do it this way, and if you're okay with that, good. Otherwise, get out of here. Because we're not going to do it the way they always used to do it. That's why nothing changes, because they do it always the way they always used to do it. Well, you can't get better if you keep doing it the way they always used to do it. So he basically says, let's find a better way of doing it and do that. So all of you guys go home and figure out a better way of doing the little piece of whatever the heck you work on. And if we keep refining this machine, it's going to be able to produce more reliable cars with better systems, controls, electronics. I mean, the car's marvelous. We have this Model Y. It's a miracle. At my age, I'm glad Marilyn, we found ourselves in a position where I could get the car. And it's the most amazing thing you've ever driven. I mean, it's one pedal driving. So you use your right foot and you push down on it and it goes faster. You lift up on it and it goes slower. What can be more simple than that? And when you lift up on it, it uses the regenerative braking, and energy goes back in the battery instead of you touching the brake pedal, wasting that energy in the form of heat, because the brake grinds against the brake pads and it produces heat. And that's how you slow down. In other words, it transforms the kinetic energy into heat energy. So, as a physicist person, and, it's energy, you just change its form. You don't get rid of energy, you just change its form. I mean, that's the theory. And so with regenerative braking, when you lift up on the accelerator pedal, you don't touch the brake pedal, you just lift up, then the wheels have a braking force, in a sense, because the wheels are now cranking the motors, which become generators. So all that happens with the same motors. There are motor generators. And the braking is really quite good. It's not good if you have a really full battery, but if you're below 90%, then the regenerative braking is in full force. And from what I've read, you actually put back about 13% of the energy of the battery through the regenerative braking. So if you got a 100% battery, it makes it a 113% battery. So if you got a 100 kilowatt battery, it's like having a 113 kilowatt battery. And because that energy goes back in the battery instead of hitting the brake pedal and producing heat to slow your car down. So that's the story. Anyway, so we have an 80 kilowatt battery. I fill it up. Takes we have a plug in the garage. A friendly doctor neighbor of mine. He's 3 units closer to the elevator. I'm 812, he's 815. And, he went out of pocket and wired up a socket that he could plug into that would, charge his car. So we got a 50 amp circuit, 230, 50 amp circuit. You plug in, it charges at 32 amps. And the voltage goes up and down around 200 volts at 32 amps. And the voltage changes in a waveform as the batteries format themselves to take on this energy. So I watched it, because you can watch it. There's an app. There's several apps that you can get that log into your Tesla, and it'll tell you what's going on with the charging, and it tells you what amperage is being used. It tells you the voltage, and you can watch the voltage. And it runs around 201 to 198. It floats up and down. Because it's easier to adjust the voltage than it is the amperage. So that's what it does. It charges the car, and I have the because I made friends. I wrote Brian, Dr. Brian. I wrote him a nice letter, and I said, I have a car. I just got I'm getting a new Model Y. I don't even have the car yet, and I see that you have an outlet. Isn't that exciting? I wonder if you can share it. I'll stay out of your way. You let me know what days you want to charge, and I'll tell you what days, and I'll go any other day. I don't care. This is my cats. And I wrote a nice full-page letter. It was in 14 point, You know, he could read it without putting his glasses on. And, you know, it says, you know, let me also check with the property manager, Ann Waller, and see what she thinks about me plugging in to, because it's her power and your socket. So it's kind of a hybrid situation. And since they're not separately billing you because they don't have a separate meter on it, they didn't know what the hell to charge you anyway. So I'm going to go in the 9 to 5 spot. After 5 o'clock, I'll just pull right in there and plug in. And as long as you're not plugged in or don't want to plug in, you know, that'll be the end of it. And that's the way it goes. So I charge Sunday and Wednesday evenings. So Sunday at 5 o'clock, I zoom into that spot whenever I'm done, you know, with movies or whatever the heck we did. And I plug in. And I stay plugged in until Monday morning. So Sunday night, Monday morning, I'm plugged in. And it usually puts in a couple hundred miles. I got a 330-mile battery, so I get down to 130 miles, which is under 40%. I plug in, it gets me up to 96%. That's how I have it. So I get 313 miles when it's all said and done. If you're going on a trip, they allow you to charge all the way up to 330. You're not going on a trip, so I do 313. That's the number that I've picked. You know, even if we're going on a trip, I'll do 313. And then we'll drive up. You know, when you map out when you put your address of where you're going in the navigation system in the car, it tells you where all the charges are, off of what highways and all that. So it's, you know, if you know how to read a map, and if you know how to, because right on a map it says, you know, you only got 10% left in your battery, you need to pull into this charger or figure out how to push this car. And this car is 4,650 pounds. It's a heavy sucker because it's got a 1,400-pound battery in there. Yeah. So that's always an issue with electric cars, is how heavy is the battery. Well, the battery is 1,400 pounds in this particular car. So look at that, inside. So this is a picture of what the new navigation system, you know, what you're going to see on that central display. Look at all, yeah, that's really, that's snappy. I love it. You know, oh, here, see here? See, safety score. That's the new tab between upgrades and service, safety score beta. So it's a way of measuring just how good a driver you are. All right. So right now, I'm 90%. That's Marilyn's lunch. Whew, look at that. Taken with the iPhone. We can click I up there, and we can see that ultra-wide camera, 13 millimeter lens, f1.8, 8 million pixel image, vibrant colors. It was 1/60th of a second, and it was set, and it's geo mapped on where it was that this photo was taken. And a picture of pizza that doesn't look quite so good. Those little tomato thingies they're like little baby peppers. Call them pepperinis. Pizza's hard to take a picture of. So, oh, look at that. It was like that and is like that. This is a little crooked on the horizon. I straightened it out. I got rid of the haze. Beautiful, intense green. There's the ocean in the background. White caps you can see. I mean, the lens, you know, the camera capability. So here's Tesla's production. There we go. You see full screen. Tesla delivered 237 31,800 vehicles compared to 206 during the previous quarter. So that's 31,000 more vehicles in a 3-month period. So that's 10,000 more vehicles per month than last quarter. 20%. The Model X and S was 8,900 units. Now it's 9,200 units, a 20% increase. The Model 3 and the Model Y, there's 228,000 of those suckers made. And the deliveries were 232,000. It's up 6%. And if you add down and do the, it's a 7% increase. You know, from, I guess, the last quarter. From a year ago, it was 70% increase. Oh, there's the shrimp again. There's my two putty cats. That's the boy cat, and that's the girl cat. The boy just kind of like moves in on the girl and sleeps on her. You know, that's good. You know, you got to have more than one of the same animal. You can't, you know, humans like to have a boy, you know, boy, girls and that, you know. You need to do something with the pet, you know, with the pets. So if you have a dog, you can get 2 dogs. You can't have just one dog. The 2 dogs, they'll sleep together. They'll, you know, you can't put them in isolation with the only company is human company. You know. Anyway, here's displayed right now. In July, I used 566 kilowatts of power. And I drove, you know, 1,100 miles, and the cost of that is $63. In August, I drove 1,059 miles. It's 535 kilowatts for $58. So you average the two, it's about $60 a month is my electric charge. You know, if I was driving a gas car, you know, you fill it up every week, and it's about $60. 6 times 4 is 240. Well, 240 is a lot bigger number than 60. So I'm, you know, those are real numbers. I'm actually, because I have an app in my phone, which tells me exactly what my power consumption is. I don't think it works on the iPad. So do I have one of those apps on the iPad? I don't think so, but let's push that one. So this shows where I am. I'm disconnected. Somebody's grass. This is every time I plugged in. See, July 21. Every time I plug in. You can see, sometimes, you know, on 9/11, I put in $9 worth of electricity. Anyway, so these graphs, you know, your driving efficiency, which I'm not the best on the driving efficiency. I'll explain why. So right now, see, my efficiency is 79%, which is better than 14% of the users. There are 86% of the users that are doing better than me as far as efficiency, which, you know, the reason why I'm not that good on the efficiency thing is because I like this feature where if I go into Kiki's for a little breakfast for 30 minutes, you know, when I'm sitting there paying the bill, I go on the app and I turn on the air conditioner, the climate control. And the car is like 98 degrees because it's in the sun. It's a black car. And so, you know, about 5 minutes before I get up and head to the car, I turn on the air. And it cools down the cabin temperature with the climate control button. And I have it set at 63. Now, since it's only 5 minutes, it doesn't get to 63. But guess what? It's like 68. Well, isn't it nice to get into a car that's 68 degree temperature rather than 98 degree temperature? Believe me, it is a marvelous treat. So, I always kick myself in the butt when I forget to do that. So in the morning, if I take Marilyn to work or whatever, she's got her own car now, or we go to lunch, on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever, I get the app out, wake up the car. Literally, that's what they call it, because the car is sleeping. So when you do the app, it like knocks on the system, knocks on the door, says, hello, Jimmy wants to take a peek at our statistics. And, so I hit the climate tab, and then I hit the cabin temperature and put it down to 62 degrees, and it shows you that the air is working. And then by the time, I put my wallet in my pants and walk out the door and take the elevator and go down to the parking lot, the parking garage, the car is cooled off. And I never get into a hot car unless I forget to do that, which is like, because it's electric, so you don't have an engine. So you're not starting a gasoline engine and it's sitting there idle, which doesn't work real well with a compressor on an air conditioner. It wants to be running up, about 1,500 RPM. Well, you can't have the engine sitting there running at 1,500 RPM, and produce all these gases coming out of the exhaust pipe. Well, with an electric car, the compressor is operated with an electric motor, with a unique electric motor. And as soon as you hit that button, the air starts up, and the ventilation system, there's fans and stuff, and it circulates this cold air into the cabin, because we have to have the right cabin pressure and temperature. SpaceX. Anyway, so the climate control is what they call it. They don't call it an air conditioner. That's for dummies. In the world of Tesla and oh my God, and these engineers, we have climate control, and we're going to set the climate at 63 degrees, partly cloudy. Anyway, so that's about it for me. I've kind of talked myself out of things to talk about, and it's what? This is Tuesday, so I may. So, I accomplished a lot of stuff. I got the phones returned. I had this real expensive, I had this $5,000 camera that's like sitting around. And I have it because I was going to be all set for taking action in sports and photography on FAU Field. And I decided to retire from that because it's so hot. Feels like temperature 103 degrees. Really? I'm going to stand out there and feels like 103 degrees for 4 hours and take pictures. I said, Marilyn, what are we doing? I said, I think it's time to retire. What do you think? She said, oh, thank God. She's wanted me to retire from photography for, 4 years ago. And I said, okay, time's now. Because, I get tired walking, taking the trash in an air-conditioned corridor to the, so now I have to, the energy it takes to get from the parking garage to get into the stadium, which we have the closest garage to get into the stadium. Katrina gives us, because we have equipment, she doesn't want us dragging equipment, because the other garages are a little further away, almost where you need a cart, someone to give you a ride. Anyway, this garage is really close to the stadium, but it's too hot. It's still 93 degrees, and it's I feel like 100, and there's not enough bottles of water you can drink. And you get to the point where, I retired a couple of weeks ago. I wrote an email to Katrina. I said, we've had a great, we've done it for 20 years. I've got 60,000 images that the parents of these kids and the kids themselves would love to see. It's all free. They can go to 416-1100.com and you can see all these FAU shots. Plus, we've taken a lot of other shots over the last 20 years. And they're all on there. There's about 400,000 shots, 2 terabytes worth of, we get 30, 40,000 hits a month. You know, people looking at these shots, totally unadvertised. It's just people that know it's there because they, you know, you can Google it. You know, if you Google certain things, because of the EXIF data that I put on the images, the images will show up in a search. Anyway, so a lot of people search and they see stuff that we've done. And so that's 416 hyphen, not dot, 416 www 416 hyphen 1100.com. And you get to, you know, all these shots. And, you know, there's going to be a car show coming up. I think they canceled the hangar party, but the car show is outside, the Concord Elegance, which is hosted at FAU on the, they put it on the driving range of the, amazing, yeah? So the driving range becomes a big green surface for all these special cars that get trucked in from all over the United States, championship vehicles. Jay Leno comes, you know, every year, every other year. He's there often. We've seen him there often. Very nice gentleman. And anyway, so that's it. We're at 1 minute, 1 hour, 3 minutes, and 4 seconds. And I think we're going to... what happened to epidemias? We used to have that in the background. It's not on. Let's try this one. There we go. Can we hear it? It's curious why we don't hear it. There it is. Because I have to end with this music. Because I fade out and the music gets a little stronger. This is Epidemius. Epidemic. Sound instrumental music without any copyright. They've given us 3 hours, 1 minute and 24 seconds worth. And it has all this kind of music. I mean, it's so, you know, if you have headphones or a monitor, you can listen to this in your office all day long. You hear how nice that is? Oh my God. If you have headphones, I've got high quality audio on this Facebook page. Anyway, so I'm gonna fade myself out, and I hope you'll have a great day. It's eating into your lunch hour, pardon the expression. It's 25 minutes after 12 on a Tuesday. Anyway, I got rid of my my $5,000 camera and have a $2,000 camera. So now Marilyn and I both have Canon R1 cameras, 30 million pixels, 8 shots a second, 4K video. I mean, the camera's like unbelievable. The other camera I had was 45 million pixels. Really? At my age, do I need a camera that does 45 million pixels when I'm not going to be taking FAU shots because I just said I've had enough? So I stepped back to a 30 million pixel camera. It's a beautiful camera. So we're both running on the same camera. The buttons are all in the same place. And these cameras are really marvelous. All right, so that's the end of what I got. I just wanted to finish that up. And maybe we'll talk tomorrow. So I just had to get on the air because I accomplished so much. I wanted to share it with you and hope you accomplish a lot of things.